Operation Hannibal was one of the largest maritime evacuations in history, carried out by Nazi Germany during the final months of World War II, between January and May 1945. It was launched in response to the rapid Soviet advance through East Prussia, Pomerania, and the Baltic States, which threatened to encircle and annihilate German military units and millions of civilians fleeing westward. The operation's objective was to evacuate German troops, wounded soldiers, and civilians across the Baltic Sea to safer areas in the west, particularly to ports in Denmark, Schleswig-Holstein, and northern Germany. Admiral Karl Dönitz, the commander-in-chief of the Kriegsmarine, ordered the operation on January 23, 1945, after receiving desperate appeals from local military and civilian authorities overwhelmed by the Soviet offensive. Despite Germany's collapsing war effort, Dönitz managed to mobilize an impressive fleet that included not only warships but also merchant vessels, fishing boats, passenger liners, and even small ferries. Over the course of several months, approximately 1,200 ships of various sizes took part in the evacuation, making it one of the most extensive naval operations ever undertaken. The conditions under which Operation Hannibal was conducted were chaotic and desperate. Civilians poured into Baltic ports such as Königsberg, Gotenhafen, today Gdynia, Pillau, and Danzig in freezing winter weather, carrying what few possessions they could. These ports were under constant threat of Soviet artillery, aircraft, and submarine attacks. The operation's execution required extraordinary coordination between the German Navy, the Wehrmacht, and local authorities. Vessels were loaded far beyond their normal capacity, often with thousands of refugees packed into spaces meant for a fraction of that number. One of the most infamous episodes of Operation Hannibal was the sinking of the Wilhelm Gustloff on January 30, 1945, by a Soviet submarine. The ship, a former cruise liner turned refugee transport, was carrying over 10,000 people, mostly civilians, wounded soldiers, and naval personnel, when it was torpedoed in the icy waters of the Baltic Sea. The sinking caused the deaths of an estimated 9,000 individuals, making it the deadliest maritime disaster in history. Similar tragedies followed, such as the sinking of the General von Steuben and the Goya, both of which also resulted in the loss of thousands of lives. Despite these catastrophes, Operation Hannibal achieved a significant degree of success. By the time it ended in May 1945, when Germany capitulated, it is estimated that between 1.8 and 2 million people had been evacuated from the eastern territories to the west. Among them were hundreds of thousands of wounded soldiers, members of the Kriegsmarine, and civilians, including women, children, and the elderly. The operation demonstrated the efficiency and discipline of the German Navy even in the final collapse of the Third Reich, as its sailors continued to risk their lives under constant enemy threat and in worsening weather conditions to save others. The evacuation ships operated under extreme danger, navigating through mine-infested waters while being hunted by Soviet submarines and bombers. Many ships that completed their missions made multiple trips across the Baltic Sea, rescuing tens of thousands of people in each voyage. Operation Hannibal is remembered both for its scale and for the immense human suffering it involved. It symbolized the collapse of the German Eastern Front, the tragedy of civilians caught between two warring powers, and the moral ambiguity of a rescue operation carried out by a regime responsible for enormous atrocities. Nevertheless, in purely logistical and humanitarian terms, it stands as one of the most remarkable naval undertakings in modern history. The operation's success, despite the chaos and destruction surrounding it, remains a testament to the desperate final phase of the war in Europe and the fate of millions of displaced people swept up in the downfall of the Third Reich.